with the human eye. See, all the beautiful objects, including girls, are seen through because of our beautiful eyes. We do believe we can we see? See, it is said that we can see from the bottom of our heart. Beauty is seen, okay, with what? Eyes or without eyes? It is believed that it can be seen without eyes also, but science does not believe it. What science believes? That we can see objects only if a ray of light falls on it and comes back to our eye. How does our eye actually perform? So let us compare this with camera. I hope all of us know camera. Okay. If you go in the olden days, the cameras were having some shutters. Do you remember those? You have even the lens cameras nowadays. You have to open the shutter. So once you open the shutter, okay, it is like eyelid. Compare the camera with eye. Okay, it is like eyelid. Open it. So shutters work has been done by eyelids. Whenever not in use, close your eyelids. Whenever in use, open your eyelids and you can see the beautiful world around. The next part after camera is some outer glass. Is it there something? Outer glass. Now let us compare this outer glass with the different structures. See, my diagrams are not too good, but if you see eye, it has a little bit bulge outside. This white part, the white colored part, is known as sclera. Over here, there is an outer covering. This covering is known as cornea. I hope you have studied about cornea. Cornea. See what it is and how it functions. Let us understand this only. The outermost part of our eye is cornea. It is a transparent material. There is a transparent material over here, cornea. Ray of light enters and passes through it. So what do you think? These cells are living or dead? What do you think? They are passing. Ray of light passes through it. These cells are living cells. These cells are the self-healing cells. See, if you remember, many times when dust goes into our eye, it becomes reddish. Do you go to doctors for that? No. You don't go to doctors for that. It gets cleaned itself. So, the cornea is having a capability of self-healing. What is having the capability of self-healing? Cornea. So, cornea are having living cells which has the capability of self-healing. This cornea's function is to diverge all the rays. Okay, whether it comes from here, it diverges, comes from here. So, converging rays. So, what kind of lens can we compare this with?
Convex lens.
We can compare this with convex lens, and it converges all the ray of light. Now, where does it pass? It passes to a centermost black colored object known as pupil. Are pupil of different colors? Yes. Pupil are of different color? No. Pupil are not of different color. Pupils are same. What are of different colors? It's the rods over here, presents. They are known as iris. What iris is? They decide the color. We are not going with COLOUR. We are going with different English. COLOR. They decide the color. So what is the color of eye? The color of eye. Does it actually have to do anything with the vision? No. It does not have actually anything to do with the vision. Then what is the function of iris? Function. What is the function? Iris. See, iris function is to contract and relax. Why does it contract? It contracts and relaxes on the basis of pupil. It contracts and relaxes on the basis of pupil. Now see, pupil is the centermost part. Pupil is the centermost part. All the rays of light which converge from cornea enters to pupil. If you are studying in a dim light, then your eye requires more amount of light so that image can be formed. So what will happen? This iris will shorten themselves. In place of good height, they will shorten themselves. They will give a wider view. Once they give a wider view, what happens? More amount of light will enter. This phenomena happens generally when you suddenly enter from a nice place, light place to a dark place. It also happens vice versa. From a dark place, if you suddenly come in a light area, suddenly there is some blackout for 1 or 2 seconds. Does it happen?
Yes.
What happens at that time? Iris takes some time. Iris takes some time. It is a fraction of second only, not more than that. What it does in this? It adjusts. It adjusts. What it adjusts? The amount of light entering through pupil. What is the function of pupil? To pass. Function of pupil is to pass light. Where? To pass light for what? To pass light to form an image on retina. What is the function of iris? Okay. To allow light, okay, as per requirement. As per requirement. To allow light as per requirement. See, if suppose more amount of light will enter, it is like you see directly into sun. What will happen? Huge amount of light will enter directly into your eye. Then what happens? At that time, your iris does, okay, your iris starts contracting. The shape will elongate. So this happens when this three situations shows what? Okay, light is more. And what about this? Okay. Light is dim, more or bright, dim or low, dim or low. So whenever, okay, the light is bright, what happens at that time? Your iris occupies more space. Only a small amount of pupil is visible. Only a small amount of pupil will be visible. Only less light should enter through it. So amount of light which should enter inside the eyeball is fixed. How much? Okay. How much? That which can form an image on retina. What is retina? I hope you know the place where the screen image is formed, the back portion. This is called as retina. There is something else also between these two. What did we start with? Cornea. We started with cornea. Ray of light entered, converges to pupil. Iris adjusts the amount of light. What does iris do? Adjusts the ray of light. Then iris also decides the color. Pupil passes this ray of light to the next part. What is the next part? The next part is over here. Lens. Lens. This lens is by default a converging lens in our eyes. Its function is to form image on retina. Its function is to form image on retina. Now, this lens can adjust little bit. This lens can adjust little bit. It means, if suppose this is the lens, it can elongate or it can get bulged also. it can either get elongated or it can get bulged. But how much? Depends. Not by huge margin, only by small margin. What does this do? It changes the focal length. It changes its focal length. It is called accommodation. It is called accommodation. Getting adapted to the light. Getting adapted to the light. Once the ray of light passes through this, the image is formed on retina. Retina passes this image to brain through optic nerves. There are some optic nerves. This optic nerve passes the image to brain. If we compare back with all these things with camera, the olden cameras, eyelid starts with shutter, then an outer cover, okay, that is cornea. From cornea, the image, okay, the ray of light passes through a lens. Does camera have lens? Camera also have lenses. Okay. After lens, okay, in olden days the cameras used to have negatives. The cameras used to have negatives. These negatives were can be represented by retina, where the image forms. Okay. Where the image forms. So cameras were linked with human eye. Cameras can be easily linked with human eye to understand. To understand this concept, normally, let us come to the different parts again. We started with cornea. What is cornea? Cornea is the outermost part of human eye. Cornea is the outermost part of human eye. They are made up of living cells which are self-healing. How many lines can you write on this? 3 lines. Cornea, the outermost part of human eye. We are not talking about the eyelids. We are not talking about eyelids. They act as shutter. Cornea is the outermost part of human eye. They act as, they are self-healing. They are self-healing. Their function is to converge the ray of light to pupil. So the next part comes as pupil. Pupil's function is to allow the light pass through it. Pupil's function is to allow the light pass through it. Then comes iris. Iris covers pupil. Iris decides the color of light, color of eye. Iris decides the color of eye. Then what else? It contracts and relaxes depending upon the situation, whether the light is bright or dim. Depending upon light is bright or dim, iris contracts and relaxes. From this iris, it passes through lens. This lens is also known as crystalline lens. Crystalline lens has a small finer adjustment which can adjust to some amount and the image can be formed on. The next function is to form an image on retina. Retina has some rod cells and cone cells. We will study those cells properly. Again, we will talk only about the cells. We will decide the colors also. From this retina, what happens over here in retina? Images formed. What kind of image will be formed on retina? Which kind of lens is this? Convex. So convex lens forms your what kind of image? Real, inverted and diminished. Real, inverted and diminished. From retina, it passes through it passes to optic nerves. From there it passes to brain. Now see, we are always into a dilemma. Okay? We are always into a dilemma. We can see objects through eyes. Okay? Through eyes. How many eyes do we have? We are having 2 eyes, each of diameter 2.5 centimeter. Each of diameter 2.5 centimeter. One image is formed in left eye, one image is formed in right eye. Okay. Both the images passes to brain. The brain will react on which image? Can brain see images? No, brain cannot see images. So both the images are passed through brain and brain interprets the image. Brain interprets the image. Brain cannot see. It interprets. After interpreting, it passes the message back. What happens after messages pass back? You have studied in the earlier chapter the nervous system, spinal cord and all. Okay, you have seen in that chapter that what happens, reflex actions. Okay. These are the different parts of eye. Okay. So if you want to write a short note on human eye, okay, human eyes can be compared with camera, which has eyelids as the outer cover. Then the self-healing cornea. You can write one statement on two statements on cornea. Function of pupil, passing the light inside the eye. Yeah. Pupil. Then iris, it decides the color of eye. Then lens, okay, converging. It forms image on retina. Retina forms the image, acts as screen. Retina acts as screen and passes the image to brain through optic nerve. So can you write all the statements? This will be a small answer, a 5-marker answer of draw neat and label diagram and explain human eye. Huh? Can you write a small answer on this? Yes? Sure? Start.